All right, so before we kick off this breakdown on gold, I want to show you my weekly analysis that I did on Sunday for gold, and then we'll come back to this chart and then break down the trade. On gold, I said last week gold was priming for a new all-time high. I was in some good trades, but I got out due to the consolidation. But I still think gold is on its way to 2460, right? I think that's going to be a target for gold to hit after breaking previous all-time high. As of right now, the month of July looks really good for that. On the weekly, we have last week showing as a really nice bullish reversal candle, right? So we had this area where price was selling off, but before the week ended, we got bought back up. So this looks like really good order flow on the lower time frames. On the daily, look at this. We have a really nice daily level that's already been tested. So we hit this order block here and bought right back up. I don't think that price is going to come back into this imbalance, right? After seeing a candle like this, it doesn't need to come back into this imbalance. So I'd be looking for some type of array within this wick to buy off of, okay? And on the 4 hour, that looks like this right here. So I'd want to see this 4 hour gap hold or some type of swing low in here in this wick. So maybe on the maybe this 15-minute swing low, it might get swept and then price will buy right back up. But I'm anticipating either this 4 hour gap or this 1 hour gap here. And you also have the breaker here, right? There was a breaker here, so there's a lot of support in this area for higher prices. This is something I would love to be a part of. It's a very nice trade. So something like this, I mean, that's 7R, right? So if this was to hold, that's a really nice trade there. All right, so here we are on gold, the daily chart. Here's that daily level that I was talking about with the long wick, right? So I was saying I don't think we're gonna come back to this imbalance, and sure enough, Monday opened up, came back to about consequent encroachment of this wick and then continued higher. And my trade came in on today, Tuesday, going after this monthly external range liquidity. So I'm going to jump to the 1 hour and show you what went through my mind, because I actually took a few paper cuts before I got this win. For the news at 8:30, I was expecting the dollar to go higher. And so I was looking to sell either euro or gold. And I'll put a screenshot of that on the screen. I sent my Telegram telling them like, hey, I think gold is going to be the one I want to go long on, but I didn't feel comfortable going long while the dollar was going up. So it was a little weird. So I actually tried to sell first before I actually got into this buy. But let me hop over here to the 1 hour chart and I'll show you exactly why I wanted to sell and then how I turned that into a buy. So this little red flag here indicates the 8:30 news. So I'm going to drop down to the 15. So this was the narrative. The US dollar index was going up into a daily imbalance. And I can show you that real quick. I'll just jump over here and show you that. This imbalance right here. I was expecting price to reach into this, and while that was happening, I was looking to sell gold just a little bit before going long, and that didn't happen. But going back over here to gold on the 15-minute, this was the narrative at the current time. So we just had news take out the late London, really early New York, I mean pre-New York, around 5:30, 5:45 a.m. We had this swing high here. New York takes that out, and then at news we shift below it, breaking structure, going below areas of support, retail support. And I'm thinking, okay, with a displacement like this, I think price may want to go down a little more before we go higher. And from an ICT standpoint, logically, this is a proper sell. I mean, you've got the liquidity pool taken out, right? A session high taken, shift in structure, imbalance, order block. You have everything here that you'd want to see for a sell. So that's what I did. I took this 15-minute gap as a proper sell. Whether I'm right or wrong, I don't care. Guys, if you're doing ICT concepts, too many times you focus on if your gap is going to hold or not, and if you're taking the right liquidity pool. I'm telling you, liquidity pools are everywhere. All right. The thing that makes the difference between if you're taking the right gap or not is really the current draw on liquidity. Sometimes your draw on liquidity can change in an instant depending on many factors, right? Don't try to focus on just being correct with the gap all the time. I am purely taking this off of the setup itself, right? I'm doing it from a performance standpoint, not a am I right standpoint. So if I see the setup, boom, I'm taking it. Okay. So I'm looking at this gap here, and I'm looking to short this past external liquidity here, as well as I actually measured from low to high to try to find the 50% area. And I was looking at these swing lows here that could potentially reverse price if price wanted to go higher. So I've got my areas here for my targets on the sell. So once I have all that, now I'm waiting for price to go into this gap so that I can take that sell, and I'll show you where I got in. Okay, let me go to the 1 minute. All right, so we're here on the 1 minute chart looking at that 15-minute gap here. This marks the consequent encroachment, the midpoint of that gap, and I'm looking right now at the order flow, trying to go short on this run here. Going back down to external. This is the 15-minute external low from this gap. All right, and the first thing I see is price takes out this swing high, and we get this potential bearish sharp turn here. As price is continuing, I get this gap right here. So this is where I'm looking to sell from. My stop goes right above this swing high. I'm targeting this 15-minute external liquidity as well as the other low, which is down here. Going back to the 1 minute. Now, you can see that price did reach into this 5-minute gap, but remember, I am trading based off of the 15-minute narrative that happened at news. Break above an old high, shift in market structure, and I'm taking that 15-minute gap. Again, it's right here. Okay, so this is what I'm looking to trade here. Back on the 1 minute, I'm now triggered into the trade on the very next candle right here. And you can see that price is already starting to turn around a little bit. At this point in time, I'm quite confident that price wants to go lower, but I'm not entirely sure. I am looking at these down close candles supporting price. So I was already thinking that if we're going to go higher, maybe we might reverse off of this area and I'll just exit and get in long, but that's not what happened. Watch what happens here. Price ends up going higher literally minutes after my entry short, taking me out here with these wicks. At this point, now I was pretty confident this up close candle would support price lower, but since that wasn't the case, I began viewing these down close candles as a change in state of delivery once we close above this candle body's high right there. So instead of looking for shorts any further, my bias changed, and the only thing I wanted to do was get in long with my stop just below this swing low right here. From there, I'd be targeting not just the news high, but also all-time high, which was just above. I chose not to wait for price to come back into the imbalance. I went ahead and just entered off of the retest of this order block here. And here's how that trade went. As you can see, we did pull back into the gap, just my luck as usual. But from there, I began observing order flow, watching as price climbed higher. Heading out to the 15-minute, you can see we did break the news high. So now I'm expecting these two down close candles here to support price higher. As you can see, the monthly swing high is still intact. This is also the level for all-time high. So even though we might get a pullback in here, I'm still watching these two down close candles and expecting higher prices, since the order flow is definitely bullish as it shows on the 15-minute. All right, so now price has decided to create a new imbalance here on the 15-minute. I was not too happy about this. I had been at the market since 8:30, already taken a few paper cuts. I really just wanted to see delivery to this new all-time high. But, you know, I can't rush price, so I just rolled with it. I was very patient. My order flow is still intact. But when we reached into this, I was expecting nothing less than for price to respect this gap and go higher. This is what we ended up getting. As you can see, the high on this candle is still below the target. And this was really frustrating for me. At this point in time, I'm sitting here like, okay, how many 15-minute gaps are we going to use to break all-time high? Well, apparently Price wanted to use both of these, all right? So we did test this one here, and Price also decided to test this one here. You can see this on the next candle. Let me just move this over. Right, so you can see the wick did tap into this gap, and then finally we hit the target. This was like it wasn't a 2-hour trade. It just felt like 2 hours because I had been here for 2 hours, but nonetheless, it was a good entry and a good trade. The target was hit, new all-time highs were made, and I will show you that recording now.